What is up, everyone? It is DJ Martini Midwest Reviews coming at you with another video for my channel today. I have a really good one in the Koss Porta Pros. Now, a lot of people do videos on this, but mine has a little bit of a twist because not only do I have the Koss Porta Pros, I have the SPorta Pros, I have the utility pair that they still call the Porta Pros as well. I have a vintage pair. Do vintage pairs sound better than the new pairs out there? Oh, man, we're gonna get all into it today on this video, so thank you for tuning in to DJ Martini Midwest Reviews. Just know I love to do that research. I love tech items. I love to give you all the information as easy as possible. Leave some links in case you're interested in the products, and then I just love to help. So if this is helpful at all, please leave a like, subscribe, or share. Please join the Martini Nation. We are steadily growing in the right direction, and it's exciting. So check out my channel, like, subscribe, and share, and let's get into this videos because I have a lot of things to get to today because we have a lot of pair of headphones. So let's jump right in. And if you don't know anything about the Koss Porta Pros, they have been around for a long time, since 1984. A little background, a little history. And they do have a retro look. Now, some people are going to love them and some people are going to hate them. So that is one thing that is different about them. They have this retro look. They've been around for a while. They haven't changed the design or anything. They have this metal headband. They have a plastic clip here that is adjustable here. You can make it any size there. And they do have the metal band. Now, if anybody knows about this, if you have long hair, be careful because it will pinch you and it does not feel good, okay? Even if you don't have long hair, I've still kind of pinched myself and it does not feel good. But other than that, they do have a nice little foam pad, nothing fancy. Like I said, they are retro, they are simple, they are opened back, they are not closed back headphones, so they do have holes. You can see them there. This is a stock pair. This is $39. Very, very simple. They do have this adjustment. You know, it says the comfort zone and it says light and firm. And you just press that button and you can adjust them in or out. So you can see how they kind of stay out like that. And if you push that button again, now they'll stay in a little bit more. And so that kind of will not put as much pressure on your ears. So that is a nice little adjustment. That's interesting. It does work for the most part. Now these do fold, and the way they are actually kind of portable here, so they go all the way in and then you can clip, there's a hook on there and you can clip them together, and they are super portable. And they do most of the time do come with a little bag in the box. And then they have the instructions and a 3.5 millimeter jack. They are corded. There is no inline mic on a stock pair of these. They are corded, 3.5 millimeter jack. They're not wireless. They're not anything crazy. They are just a corded pair of headphones. But a lot of audiophiles do like these headphones because of the tremendous sound that you get out of them. You get a very nice clear, get a nice little sound stage actually. Great panning, great tight bass. They're not super warm, they're not super bright, they just have a great sound profile to them, and a lot of people love them. They really like the way these sound, and I will agree, I am one of those fans, and that's why I have all these and was willing to pick a couple extra pairs up to make this video because they do sound good. So I knew no matter what, I'll be able to sell these, because even if I sell them for $20, I know I will be able to get some money back from these because they are very, very popular. So now I did pick this pair up. They are older. I want to say they were probably 5 to 6 years old because of the pads. When I got them, they were deteriorating, falling apart, and I know that takes a few years for that to happen. And depending on the weather and what kind of climate they're putting them in or leaving them in. So I knew that they were a few years old. So I definitely know that these have some playtime on them, and you know, they needed a little bit of refurbishing, but you can buy these pads easily on Amazon or from the actual website of Koss. So check that out. Easy to replace these. Now they also make these pads right here. This is an also pad, and I tried to get a pair so I could show you them, but I ordered them from China and I never got them, so I'm still looking for a vendor that can send them to me. I haven't got that yet, so I will find some, but you can find them on eBay and Amazon as well. The one that I tried, I did not get them, so just to let you know there. But they are inexpensive. They were like $5, $5 to $8, no problem. The replacement pads I got straight from Koss, and they were only $8, so really, really inexpensive to, you know, replace the pads or anything if you need to, if you buy an older pair. So let's go to my next pair that I want to talk about. This is a 1998 pair or somewhere in there of Koss Porta Pros Junior. Now they are the exact same. They have like a 4-foot cord here, 3.5 millimeter jack right here. Same design, metal design, plastic clips, same kind of color, except these do actually say Porta Pro Junior. Open back, you know, still had the pads, except these, notice they do not have any kind of comfort adjustment there, so they don't have that, but they still fold and will connect with the hook like I showed you earlier. And these are my vintage pair that I want to give a sound profile test, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But yes, these are from around 1998 for sure, because I had to look those up as well. So these Porta Pros Junior actually turned into the SPorta Pros, so I picked those up as well. Where did I put my SPorta Pros? Now the SPorta Pros. Now the SPorta Pros do look a little bit different. They kind of have a funky design here. You can see that they're all black, so they do have a nice black color. Still have that metal headband with the plastic clips on top. They have a kind of a funky looking curve here, say Koss on there, have left and right, have the little pads up here, still made of the same foam material, still have the same 40 millimeter dynamic drivers there, so no problem there. Still have the 4-foot cable and still have the 3.5 millimeter jack. Still fold up, still come with a carrying case, a little bag. That's pretty much what we got here. Now the only difference of these is because I'll put these on here. We have left or right here, so I'll put these on. All right, so this is what they look like on. They have that curved design, and notice this band is on my head right now. On the SPorta Pros, you can turn that band back like this, and that's the SPorta Pro part of them, is that they stay on your head, and you know, you can have no band over your head. So that's kind of a unique design. It is different. You could, you know, easily wear these and have like a baseball hat on or something. So that's kind of a unique look. Once again, you can see that. But that is kind of cool about them. And then they just fold right back up to a normal pair of headphones. So kind of interesting. No, none of these so far have had any kind of inline microphone or volume adjustment on the cord. Just 3.5 millimeter jack. And you have to remember that these are pretty old. I think these came out in like 2003. So, you know, pretty stock basic pair of headphones. The utility pair that came out is made for more like a new version of them to have that. So let's see if I can find out. Like I said, the stock pair of Porta Pros came out in 2003 on Amazon, but they had been around since 1984. The Porta Pro Juniors came out in 1998. The SPorta Pros are in 2004. Utility pair came out in 2021, so they're pretty new. They're actually a pretty new pair of headphones. Let's talk about the utility pair. So on the utility pair, they look a little bit different. The design is still similar. With the open pair, these have red and like a darker blue in there. They're still open. They still have, you know, the comfort design. They just look a little bit different. They still fold and have the hook, and you can still get a little carrying bag with them, except these just have this is a 2.5 millimeter jack connection in there. That's what you get. And then they come with extra cables, so you can either buy When you first buy it, you either can get a USB Type-C connection or you can get a lightning connection, depending on what you want. I have both of them, and that will cost you a little extra, but you do get a 3.5mm jack to 2.5mm jack. Just a standard cord. It's a flat cord. It's nice. It's kind of short. It's only probably 3 feet, but you do get this cord, and you will get a choice, like I said, USB Type-C or lightning. I have both of them. I originally bought the lightning in a kit, and so 2.5 to lightning, but this doesn't have a microphone on it, and it does have your volume as well and a play and pause in there as well that will work with these headphones. Now, I bought an extra utility cord, and that's why they're called the utility, and this is a USB Type-C. Now, if you buy these on Amazon, they're $44, which is kind of ridiculous. If you buy them on the actual website at Koss, they are only $20 plus a little bit of shipping, so you will save some money buying them straight from the Koss company website. So go to the website of the actual company and purchase the utility cable if you want a spare or if you want a different one. So I have a lightning and a USB Type-C. I can use them with a bunch of different devices, include old Apple devices. So that's why I have this cable, and I bought it straight from the company for only $20. Extreme value and a good update to my video that I made on those. So check that video out as well. So let's get into just a little bit of extra stats that I want to talk about. They only weigh 6.4 ounces or 60 grams. They have the adjustable folding, ears. They are open ears, so they're not closed back. And we can talk about sound profile in a little bit, but they do have a frequency range between 15 hertz and 25 hertz down the range. All of them had the same. Now, some of them have a different decibel level. So the Koss Porta Pros stock, they had 101 decibel levels, and that's pretty much all of them, except the SPorta Pros actually have 103 decibel levels. Other than that, we talked about design and construction and how they fold and the pads and the replacements and everything like that. So let's talk about sound profile now, kind of what you want to know about these. So sound profile, let's go straight to, does a vintage pair sound better than a new pair? And that is an absolute no, okay? So I listened to the Porta Pros Junior, and they sounded like they had degraded over time. Now, I did do a review video on the Studio Koss Pro 4AAs and the AAAs, and I did notice the vintage pair sounded a little bit better than the new pair. So that was a difference there, but on the Koss Porta Pros, I honestly think that the speaker in those just degrade. The speaker in the Pros is humongous, and it's very well made. I think the speaker in these aren't as nicely made, and so they do degrade a little bit more over time. So the low end on a vintage pair was not as good. It was not tight, it was not clear. The mid-range and the trebles were bright and sounded good still, but the low end was completely gone. And so they just didn't sound even comparable to a newer pair of Koss Porta Pros. So if you have a vintage pair from 1998, they're going to probably degrade over time, and they just don't sound as well anymore, unfortunately, in my opinion and from what I tested and found here, okay? That answers that question. That yes, I would definitely go with a newer pair if you can, something within the last 10 years, in my opinion. And so I think I did that with my stock pair, the stock Porta Pros. I think they were only probably between 5 and 10 years old, somewhere in there. And just from the way the stock foam pads, when I got them, they still had some, they still could have worked for a little while, but when I was trying to remove them, they kind of broke apart easily, so I knew that they had some time on them. So I do believe in breaking time on headphones and speakers. Some people do not. Some people say that the difference is so minute you can't hear it. So, but I do believe that you can just tell a little bit of difference in a pair of headphones that's been listened to a while at different volumes and things. And I think that speaker just changes its pitch, its tune just a little bit. And so the stock pair that have, were between 5 to 10 years old, in my opinion, had a very, very tight bass. It sounded fantastic, and it did sound different from the SPorta Pros and the utility pair, which are brand new. Okay, so tight bass. The bass was so clear and precise. It sounded fantastic. These sounded great. They're not super bright. They sound good at 101 decimal levels, and I just love the way the Porta Pros sound. So they do sound good, no problem there. Now the SPorta Pros, they still sounded very similar. Like, I honestly think these speakers are the same speakers within all the Porta Pros. There's 103 decimal levels that I saw claimed. They did sound a little bit brighter, and so I do think maybe the treble and the mid-range is tweaked a little bit on them. They still had really good bass notes and clear, precise bass note, but I just noticed that this just sounded a little bit different on the other Porta Pros compared to the SPorta Pros. So then we go to the utility pair. These still are marked at 101 decimal levels, and they have the connection here. They sounded very similar to the SPorta Pros, and still had kind of a brighter sound, in my opinion, but still all together with everything else. Like I said, the only thing I can say on the older Porta Pros that wasn't extremely vintage was that the bass sounded just a little, like, slightly different. It just sounded clear, tight, good. Most people will be able to tell the difference between, and I'm not saying my ears are anything special. I'm just saying that I could just tell a little bit difference on that Porta Pros, and I listened to them for many hours, many different songs, same song over many times on different headphones, and I really just thought, and maybe that was just my head after listening to them for so long, that the couple-year-old Porta Pros with just more break-in time, I think, had a little bit clearer bass, in my opinion. Other than that, all of the Porta Pros sounded similar, except for the SPorta Pros. They sounded a little bit brighter, in my opinion, but very, very similar. So all of them overall sound very similar, just a little tweaks on a couple different ones. And then if you want to go extreme, like an extreme vintage pair, those ones, no, I think they sound not as good. The low end is completely degraded on them a little bit, and they just didn't sound, they sounded muddy, and it just didn't sound right anymore. So if you get an extremely old pair, I don't think they sound as good as a new pair. One more thing I want to talk about is the KPH30Is. These have an inline mic in them, and they also have the 3.5 millimeter jack. These also sound very similar to the Porta Pros, so I just want to put that out. Some people might argue with that, but in my opinion, they were very, very close to the Porta Pros as well, sound-wise. If you buy a pair of Porta Pros or even the KPHs, they have all sound great. A lot of people approve of them. A lot of them people think they're really close to like an audiophile type pair of headphones where they have great sound. Everybody's going to enjoy listening to them and things like that. Let's talk about price point and a couple of negatives, and I'll get you on out of here. So price point for a stock pair. This is the stock pair with the baby blue look. No microphone, just a 3.5 millimeter jack, 4-foot cable, $34.99, and that's what you're going to get there. Pretty good price for a decent pair of headphones. Like I said, style-wise, you're either going to love them or hate them, but when you listen to them, you will appreciate them. The next pair I want to go to is the SPorta Pros. These are only $29. They don't have the head adjustment, but I don't think that's huge. Like, you're not going to really notice it a lot. These do fold back, which is kind of cool, but these are only $29 and they sound very similar to all of them. So like I said, you're not going to go around, and these are cheaper. So if you want, a couple dollar cheaper option, these will work absolutely, the SPorta Pros. Next, we'll go to the utility pair. These are the most expensive. These came out in 2021, so they're also the newest version that came out. And so these are absolutely, they sound similar in all ways, but they do have a very cool utility option where they work with the iPhone. If you buy the iPhone cable, they work with an Android type. If they have the USB type C, you can buy that cable. And you could even buy both of them because you have the option to buy the cables as you want. So the cables are cheaper on the actual website, so look for that. But these are $49. So when you buy them, like I said, you will get a carrying bag, utility cord, which is the 3.5 millimeter jack, and you will get either the USB type C or the lightning cable, depending on which one you pick. Okay. $50 for these. A little bit more expensive, but they do have the inline microphone, the play pause button, and the volume button as well on the utility cord that comes with it. So plug and play, they work pretty good, sound good, sound similar to all the rest of them as well. So those are the most expensive ones there. The KPH30Is are also $29. You can find warehouse deals on all of these, which might make them a little bit cheaper. But like I said, very, very similar sound profile. But the KPHs do, for the $29, do have the inline microphone as well on them. And they do have, a volume as well. Let's wrap this up with just the final thoughts on these. They do have replacement parts, so you can get replacement pads or the bigger pads up top as well. So you can refurbish them if you want. If they, over a couple years, have some issues, or you can get replacement parts. They also have other parts that make them different colors, or round or square or giant. You can get all kinds of accessories for these Porta Pros and for the KPHs as well. Overall, these are a great pair of headphones for anybody. Like I said, you're either going to love that retro styling or hate that retro styling, but I think everybody can appreciate the sound on these. Have been around since 1984, and they're still making them today, so that's got to say something, that people are still buying them. People are still enjoying these headphones. Price points are vary, but like I said, if you buy any of the ones I've talked about today, that they sound good, so you're gonna get a nice, decent pair of headphones. The only ones I would not do is a pair of Porta Pro Juniors, like I said, because they're very, very old now, and they're just not sounding as good as they used to, in my opinion. Unless you found one that were factory unopened or something like that in the package still. Maybe those would still sound really, really good. Some of the negatives that I will talk about is that foam does deteriorate over time, so they will break down, they will fall apart. They have no microphone except for the utility pair. They do have a microphone, but the other pairs don't have any microphone, any adjustment on the cord or anything like that. The headband can pinch your hair, have long hair, or happen to get that caught in that metal band. And also foam can get a little itchy at times if you're not used to that. It's nothing major, something that goes by, but it could be a little bit warm or get itchy depending on the person. Now for me, I didn't really have any issues, but I could notice that it could happen. I think that's all I got for you today. This has been a lot of information. Hopefully it was helpful in some way to someone out there. So you can pick the pair that you might want out there. The SPorta Pros, the Porta Pros, the utility. There's all different kinds of colors and models. Just know that for the most part, the sound profile is all the same all the way around. Unless you're looking for that vintage pair, like I said, unless they're factory stock in the box still, I wouldn't take a chance on them, because I think the drivers on this over time have just deteriorated, and maybe the low end won't sound as good as it used to than on a newer pair. Other than that, maybe 5 to 10 years old, still good, but I wouldn't get super vintage being like 20 years or more old, because I just don't think those drivers can keep up with it. So that's my final thoughts. No matter what, I think you can get a good new pair of these and they're gonna be solid. You're gonna enjoy the way they sound. You're gonna either love or hate their styling, but if you like the way they sound, it'll be worth it. All right, no matter what, they are something, if you're wearing, somebody will bring them up, talk about them, like them, hate them, anything like that. So it will give you a little bit of buzz just even having them. So thank you so much for tuning in. It's been DJ Martini Midwest Reviews. If you got any help from this video, please give a like, subscribe, hit those bell notifications, leave a comment, and thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you really, really soon on a future video, because more are coming. Check you really, really soon.